Would you want to purchase something when it could be gone in a few weeks or months? Would you want to spend $100 to $10,000 or more for it all to mean nothing in a short amount of time? There are many risks of buying wild-caught animals, many of those being salmonella, influenza, and other deadly diseases. You might not just be losing a new animal, but many of these diseases can pass on to you. Taking animals from their natural habitat can be harmful to ecosystems, and the animal itself may have side effects. That's why it's always best to purchase captive-bred animals. I will overview the pros of purchasing a captive-bred animal and a wild-caught animal. The greatest thing about getting captive-bred animals is that, quote, every generation bred in captivity can lose a little more of their wild instinct. They are more dependent on us for food, and diseases are less apparent as are parasites if given the proper screening and treatment protocols. These animals also tend to be healthier and sometimes more docile, quote, Texas A&M Vet Med. Keeping non-domesticated pets can be hard because, quote, they have the same needs as they do in the wild, and an exotic animal owner is legally obligated to meet these needs in captivity, quote, RSPCA. That's why you should make it even easier on yourself, and purchase an animal that is well adjusted to captivity. A captive-bred animal is known to be easier since their parents are good captives along with their parents before them. We know these animals can be well cared for and even thrive in captivity. But sadly, wild-caught animals do not last long. Quote, over 90% of fishes and over 75% of reptiles die within a year in the home, quote, Clifford. Another negative to purchasing wild-caught animals is that they can be dangerous and deadly since they're not used to being around humans. Quote, stories about wild animals who have been kept as pets attacking and injuring people, often fatally, are frequently in the news. Even small animals such as squirrels can deliver a nasty bite or scratch when their natural instincts kick in. Quote, pause. There are many changes from coming from the free wild to a few feet of space for a wild animal. It can be very hard to adjust to this massive life change. Diet is a huge change because they can go from eating wild fruit, fish, lizards, and even snakes to being stuck eating strawberries, crickets, and pinky mice. Quote, they may never eat enough or eat at all because they do not always recognize what we feed as food. Quote, Texas A&M Vet Med. When you first purchase a wild animal, it could seem perfectly fine, but you never know what it could carry. Wild-caught animals have many diseases that they carry that are harmless in the wild, but when they become captive, that's where the problems arise. They may even pass it on to your other animals or even you. Quote, diseases include rabies, distemper, herpes viruses, salmonella, polio, tuberculosis, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and even bubonic plague. Quote, AZA staff. Traveling for miles over borders and through countries can be very straining for anyone, let alone an animal. Just the stress can kill them, but add on top the diseases and parasites other animals traveling with them can carry. Quote, sadly, as many as 4 out of 5 animals caught in the illegal wildlife trade will die in transit or within a year in captivity, quote, World Animal Protection. Just imagine exactly how many animals have to be taken from the wild to keep a steady income of these species. This degrades populations, which can hurt ecosystems by then making an increase of its prey, which can ruin ecosystems. Taking animals can not only hurt the environment they are coming from, but also where they are going. Once people find an exotic pet is not for them, they can struggle to sell it. So, quote, many such animals are released into the local environment and risk becoming invasive alien species, quote, Clifford. On the outside, wild-caught may seem like a better option for people trying to save a buck or two. In reality, wild-caught animals can cost thousands of dollars more. Due to them coming from the wild, a vet appointment would need to be scheduled right away. Usually, these animals are of poor quality health since they have been beaten down by the harsh reality of the wild. So they will need a stack high of medicine that can be very expensive. In my opinion, the only valid reason to purchase a wild-caught animal is if there are no captive bred of that breed. Some people really only want one type of animal, and the problem that not all animals can be captive bred. Some people only want one type of animal, and the problem is that not all animals can be captive bred because either we don't know how or they take a long time to breed. Although it would be better to just buy another animal, it's best to have an animal that you would want to have, so you shouldn't waste your money on something you don't truly want. As you can see, purchasing captive bred animals as opposed to wild caught is the better answer for the animal, the environment, and yourself. I've informed you of the harm taking animals out of the wild. I've informed you of the harm taking animals out of the wild can do. It can hurt you, the animal itself, the environment, and even your bank account. If you buy a wild-caught animal, you could be losing a lot of money and hurting yourself and the animal in the process. Is the cheaper price tag worth the risk? Everyone wants a unique pet, even myself. But if that pet is going to cause harm to people and even other animals, it's not worth it. Settle for something less exotic, making sure it's still a good pet for you and you could still have an amazing pet. This slide proves the dangers of exotic pets through statistics over the course of 21 years. Between 5,000 to 7,000 tigers are reportedly kept as pets, which is nearly double the amount in the wild. It says there have been 75 reported deaths by exotic pets. It may not seem like a lot, but it's definitely more than it should be. 21 of these deaths are attributed to big cats. Around 1,600 reported incidents involving exotic pets. Another danger of exotic pets is that 90% of wild-caught reptiles contain salmonella. There is also an array of other diseases. On the right, you can see the exotic animal laws throughout the U.S. As you can see, there are some very strict laws and some have no laws at all. Many exotic animals are primates, which include 15,000 total primates kept as pets in the U.S. Keeping so many primates comes with a downside. They are dangerous, and more than 275 people have been injured within 30 years. On the right, you can see the statistics for big cats, which keeping is illegal in only 25 states. This slide shows the statistics for species of reptiles as exotic pets in their trade. There are around 4,000 total species in the trade, with only 800 being protected by CITES and around 3,000 protected by limits. The rest of these animals are unprotected and can be taken from habitats without much restriction. This is dangerous and can harm many ecosystems.